much like our conversations earlier today and last week on the two emergency certified bills having to do with funding for various programs in the state of Connecticut, and the interaction with the federal government is at stake. I mean, that is why it's relevant, as clear as day. As the majority continues to speak out as loudly as possible in direct and utter defiance of the President of the United States, who has made several lawful edicts, including an executive order on this very subject that the amendment addresses. I don't have the executive order number in front of me, but there's an executive order on this exact subject to say that states are going to risk their federal funding if they continue to defy the president's executive order on this subject. It defies common sense. And what concerns me about this entire debate is that it seems to me that the ugly head of politics continues to raise its head above what we're supposed to be doing here, which is coming up with policy that is beneficial to the citizens of Connecticut. It's extremely frustrating to get up time after time, year after year in this circle and offer common sense amendments, offer even sometimes very modest changes to the legislation that is before us, only to be voted down simply because it's coming from me or one of my Republican colleagues. That is not what our constituents want us to do. They want us to make good policy for them. They don't want us to be fighting. They don't want us to be shaking our fist at President Trump. They want us to say, look, this is where we agree. This is where we might disagree. Can we come up with some solution to resolve as much as we can?
Looney.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Raise a point of order. I believe that the senator is discussing the motivation for people who may choose a position on a particular bill, either for or against, adopting a political point of view rather than talking about the content of the bill on its own merits. I would ask the chair to caution the senator on that and direct him to proper channels of debate.
Thank you, Senator Looney and Senator Sampson. If you would please discuss the amendment that is before us.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd be delighted to discuss the amendment before us. I would just point out that if I overstepped into the political realm, it is not lost on anyone watching that I'm far from the only one who has done that recently. This particular amendment that is before us is on the subject of common sense. That's what it's about. And I'm sorry that common sense has escaped a great many people in this country for the last several years, since this tide of what I would refer to as a woke agenda has fully embraced a large segment of our population. This particular issue itself is the result of a very radical and noisy group of people clamoring for policy changes that are global in nature, yet they are a tiny, tiny, tiny minority. And frankly, in my view, they do not make any sense. People across this country have spoken and said the practice of allowing biological men to compete against women is not only wrong, it is vile and immoral. People are being injured. People are being hurt. Girls, women are being hurt and injured as a result. Senator Summers brought out this amendment, and she made all the salient points. I will just try and reiterate them as much as I can. And, of course, this is obviously an uncomfortable position since I'm a man bringing out this thing. But I'm not here to delve into the subject of women versus men. I am here in defense of common sense, as I said. The fact of the matter is that we live in a reality. And that reality also includes biology. The fact of the matter is that biological men are stronger, they have more testosterone, they have larger lung capacity, they have more bone density. They actually are different than biological females. And when you put biological males competing against biological females, it's not fair, frankly. And it's obvious to anyone looking at it through a lens of common sense. This is the reason why it's been this way for so long. I've heard some ridiculous things. I heard someone suggesting that if there was a separate third category for trans athletes, that would be segregation. Well, the fact of the matter is men and women have self-segregated in the area of sports forever. That's just part of our culture. It's not a negative. It's a nod to reality, biological reality. One of the things that wasn't brought up is that not only are you affecting women currently that are in this situation of having to compete against biological men, you are also risking all of the achievements of women that have come before. People that have set records and won awards, they are being erased by biological men who I don't believe any right or justification in any common sense world to compete against them. It's just wrong. So all of these arguments have been made before. Biological advantage, protecting women's achievements, physical safety concerns, scholarships, things like that, they're all being impacted by this on a day-to-day basis. I'm very thankful that we're getting direction from the federal government to put this to an end. And I would encourage my colleagues to adopt this amendment for several reasons. One, it's common sense. Two, it's the right thing to do, especially if you truly believe in protecting women. And third, if you're actually concerned about us and our federal funding and what that impact is going to be, then consider the fact that this is one of those votes that is going to determine whether or not the federal government decides whether we are deserving. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator